Welcome back, guys. It's Forge of Champions. It's a bit of UK fun here. It's the first ever of its kind. I'm excited, as you can
UK
tell.
and Irish fun, right?
Yeah, UK and Irish fun. I hope you guys have your PG tips and digestives ready, as we're going to jump into game 2 very shortly. I mean, Phelan, they went down, and it looked very strong from Wind and Rain, really focusing in on separating the roster from Phelan as much as possible, making sure those team fight wombo combos never really came about. It's all on Phelan's back now. They need to change up their game and make sure they can try and pierce through Wind and Rain. Any thoughts how you can do that? You know, is it just a case of different strategy? I mean, I think that top lane matchup is where things are really going to possibly find some dividends.
I think, I mean, you've seen Kerberos pop off with so many carries. You've seen the likes of Fiora, the likes of Camille.
Right.
I think the idea from Phelan was, okay, look, we can't spend our whole ban phase on Kerberos, so we're going to have to give him a good matchup and just hope to stall him out. And that just didn't come to fruition when Kerberos was just given so much free time because of good play by the rest of his team.
And I mean, one thing, Ox, that we have to mention is the fact that proper Panda kind of didn't quite have the impact necessary on that Nocturne.
Yeah, it felt like the only ult he really got that was successful was the one bot lane when Fax dashed in and then got punished, but it felt like every other ult, you would ult the Lissandra would dash away, same thing happened to Camille. I mean, maybe one of the problems was picking the Nocturne so early when clearly Wind and Rain had a strategy for that, but also just the execution could be a bit better, maybe had some more engaged to follow up on him so that he wasn't just sort of caught out in the middle of nowhere. Like that time when he ulted in, flashed straight out.
Yeah. I mean, we've said what we think here, but you know, the most important opinion really comes from Twitter. There's all those Twitter analysts out there. Hashtag Forge of Champions 1. If you do have an opinion, maybe you just like this kind of setup that we got going for Celtic Tiger here, looking very wonderful, very beautiful.
Thank you. I get that a lot, though, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, so you say he's looking beautiful, but not me.
I mean, you got a good shirt, mate.
Oh, my shirt's nice, but whatever.
Oh dear. Anyways, if you're looking to get involved, it is an open tournament. Anyone can sign up. It's forgeofchampions.com. The stream's embedded there. VODs will be uploaded there as well. If you want to check them out on YouTube, you can go over to youtube.com/LVP UK as well, but Forge of Champions is your main hub. Sign-ups for the Open Qualifier 2 have started. That's going to be played on July the 6th, so make sure you get in there before then so that you can potentially get yourself or just become a UK champion. That's basically what's going to happen.
Yeah, so if you're sitting here and you're watching Phelan, you're like, I could do better than that. I would have won against Kerberos's Camille, then you know, that's your opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are a solo player, then sign up anyway. We will pair you with teams so that you can you know, make some new friends and of course become the next big thing. You could become the next Renegade Benditos.
Yeah, we won't pair you with Dowsey, don't worry. We'll put him by himself, don't worry about that.
It's fine, guys. I got told that I was disqualified for just playing Aatrox every game.
Oh.
That's my match history.
I mean, I feel bad for you now. You just lost all that experience, just gone.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to playing the rework. We are playing on patch 8.13. Aatrox is banned because it's kind of new and we don't want to, you know, put these guys in the deep end. But other things have come through, a couple of changes. You mentioned earlier that gold has changed, which means that the early snowball potentially going to be reduced.
Yeah, and it's not just that, it's the fact that you obviously saw lots of towers taken out from Wind and Rain there, but the outer towers actually give less global gold.
Right. So
although a lot of gold still picked up for whoever takes it, you're not just giving your team a ton, and that's why, you know, Phelan still managed to win a couple of team fights, despite the fact of being behind.
Yeah, clearly, I mean, Wind and Rain failed to snowball, and that's why the game completely flipped on its head.
I mean, you know, if you take that long to finish a game in the open qualifier, we saw, I mean, in the round before, we saw some like 90-minute games.
Yeah, right.
That was getting a bit towards 30, a bit slow, if you ask me.
Well, that's the thing, you know, when you kind of go through the history of these Premiership teams playing against the open qualifier teams, there have been some very quick finishes. I think I mentioned earlier, XL, a 19-minute 04 finish against their opponent's Overheat. I mean, hoping that with those changes that potentially those 1904 games become maybe 25-minute games and it feels a little bit better because you got to see the Baron.
Yeah, true. They had to take the Baron before they smashed the Nexus.
That's true.
That's what I was hoping for.
They did get 3 inhibs as well, so it really slowed it down.
Yeah, true. They should have just gone straight through 1, you know. I don't know what they're doing.
All right, well, Phelan will be coming up soon on the blue slide. We have mentioned that Lucian's probably going to be that matchup. Aether versus Fax, kind of a key matchup here. Both these guys trying to prove themselves. Obviously, Fax has been around. You know, he used to play for Bulldogs. He was kind of came in during that time when you had just raw talent in the bot lane. And so it's kind of hard to make your name when you're like playing against the likes of, you know, Inax and stuff. We'll have to see how it does come up. We're going to jump into picks and bans here. Of course, with Phelan looking to try and change things around, is going to be them on the blue side, despite what the graphic does tell you. First ban will come out, and it is going to be that Nidalee once more against Nulty.
You know what? I would do if I was Wind and Rain is I would throw a Lucian ban. Okay. We talked so much about how, you know, you're on blue side, you want this Lucian. You know they're going to take it. I think you can just ban it away and just stop that. You know it's gone, right? Just cleanse yourself of it. No one's playing Lucian this game. I
think that'll be the smart thing to do. So it's just saying there's no real reason to give Phelan an upper hand when you know exactly what they're going to first pick, unless you have something specific counter in mind.
Zoe and Talia coming through here. We'll see if potentially Wind and Rain, who are on that red side, will ban that away. Currently, just considering what they want to get rid of, it is going to be that Irelia, another contested pick for both these teams.
Yeah, so banning away some of these power picks still. Nothing's changed that much from the first draft. Seems like they're going in a very similar direction. I think that's the same bans from Phelan, and so far the same from Wind and Rain. I mean, I guess if it's not broken, don't fix it. But for Phelan, it was a bit broken.
Yeah.
So interesting to see if they do go for Lucian third ban or just try and replicate what they did before. And yet they're going to go for Vlad, so no massive change there.
And so for Phelan now, you would expect that the Lucian pick has to come through. If it doesn't, then Phelan, then Wind and Rain will just snatch that up. Phelan on the blue side will pick that one up here.
I'm interested to see what Wind and Rain pick up, because the last time we saw the Braum in response, so you don't get the really strong Braum Lucian lane, they could take that, and then you could lean towards the Ornn again, or you effectively denied the Ornn from them. Right. Because I just realized Kerberos would never pick up Ornn.
I think something I'd like them to do is if they want to play an AD carry, which they don't have to, but commit to it now, because if they end up picking it third, they'll be locked in a situation like Aether was, where it's like, do you want your AD carry, do you want a good top lane matchup? And yeah, it looks like they might have hit me, and the Hover and the Kai'Sa, which would be a good pick, decent into Lucian, obviously scales well, and then the Camille for Kerberos once again, which was such a menace.
Yeah, no, it was. Nothing that Akers could really do about it, just had to kind of take it on the chin. Nulty is going to lock in that Jax though, so we've kind of shown the Kai'Sa, but we're not necessarily going to lock it in just yet.
Could be a bait, could be them saying, you know, we have other things we can play. You can ban away the Kai'Sa if you want. We're not really bothered. But Jax, obviously, that was such a dominant top lane and jungle duo, and it felt like, although it was a jungle Jax and a top Camille, Kerberos was like the second jungler that game. You know, he was ganking mid, he was ganking bot, and got a lot of utility out of that hook shot.
Yeah, you mentioned he likes to max the hook shot out, even despite the nerfs, provides so much utility, so much ganking pressure.
I think it was a situation where against a Malphite, the kill pressure was quite low, and also the mobility from the hook shot meant he wasn't really going to get pressured by the knockdown. And the thing is, Camille's happy to scale.
Gotta be the Ornn Braum.
Yep. Owen got banned last game, so, you know, instantly Phelan go, we need to lock that in. There's the Braum coming through as well from Vigor. Vigor has some great ults. I mean, it has to be mentioned that his Braum ults kind of set up team fights. Now, we'll have to see if the Ornn Horn can have impact as well.
Yeah, so this I like this draft that they picked up, and, I mean, yeah, it feels like they are going to lock in the Kai'Sa to get forced, so they want to take an AD carry. And I do like how, because obviously the Ornn Braum is a good interaction. There is a Yasuo still available. You know, if Wind and Rain wanted to bring that out, a Yasuo mid, because that blocks the engage as well. But that's getting a bit too spicy. We'll see the second round of drafts. And I think it's likely junglers will be banned by Wind and Rain, because they haven't been picked. And then on the other side, supports banned away by Phelan.
I mean, I've experimented with jungle Ornn. It's bad. I can't recommend it.
I could have told you that.
Thank you for that analysis.
Yeah,
how much LP did you lose off that?
No, I wasn't stupid enough to bring it into ranked, to be honest.
Well,
yeah, I kept myself safe.
Then you didn't experiment with Ornn jungle. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. You're just a casual.
Yeah, I kept it casual. So I had to throw it in. Maybe a few flex games here or there.
I mean, Trundle going to be banned up here. Morgana banned as usual. Phelan pretty much just sticking to their sets of bans, not changing things up. A Skarner ban comes through potentially. Feel like that Skarner could just provide the team fighting power that Phelan needs. And the last ban for Phelan gonna be that Zillion. Celtic Tie, you said that it was impactful in some team fights, maybe not as much, but probably wasn't the Starlight of the game.
No, and as I was saying, Akatsune, I wouldn't be rushing to pick it again. Yes, it counters Braum in lane, but the ults, he didn't seem super comfortable on it, but maybe with a game's practice is willing to go for it again because you are up against the Braum.
Orianna potentially going to be stolen away here from Jarden. The Shockwave, obviously very impactful. I didn't feel like it was super impactful coming out of Jarden, but that's kind of set up by the fact that Akers wasn't quite able to connect his ultimate, neither was Proper Panda.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that they didn't even ban the Nocturne because they just saw how Phelan wasn't able to make it work that game. And even now, I was thinking maybe they'd leave the mid lane to pick to last so they have the option of Lysandra for safety, but they're just confident. They don't think there's anything Phelan can bring out that's too much of a threat to an Orion. And actually seen the Sejuani here, and so this is something I do prefer to the Nocturne. It's got a lot of engage, because the problem is Ornn's going to be locked in a lane with Camille for a lot of the time. You can't rely on him for the primary engage. And then in terms of synergy with Braum, there's so much lockdown. It's so hard for these two bruisers on the side of Wind and Rain to really do anything.
I was going to say, you need consistent damage from your mid laner now because you have opted into a triple tank line. That's not the consistent damage I was thinking. I think make Cassiopeia, yeah, exactly. Thank God.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so they managed to get Cassiopeia. I think you want a good carry that a lot of consistent damage can basically amp up your damage, because Lucian is a little bit more early focused, especially since those 8.13 nerfs.
And the really important thing is that you can ground the Jax and the Camille, potentially keep them off your back line, allow for the reposition to come through from Akers and stay nice and healthy. Now just looking for that support pick. Oh man, he hovered the pike. I was getting excited for just a second. Does look like it will be the Zyra locked in for Wind and Rain, and now the compositions are formed. Have Phelan done enough here, Orcs, to potentially change the swing of this series?
Yeah, I think their draft's a lot better in a lot of ways. You know, you have safe wave clear from Ornn. He's quite good at just clearing the minion wave with his Bellows Breath. And you have options from the rest of the team if you want to engage, and the Cassiopeia is obviously a great scaling option. And the thing is, I don't think Wind and Rain have drafted quite as well. They've gone for the same Camille Jax thing, which is fine, but you're now in a situation where you have a Zyra Kai'Sa bot lane, and sure, if you can just freely shove that lane, bot's going to go great. But you're against a Sejuani, you're against an Ornn, you're against a Cassiopeia with TP. I don't think they're going to let that happen, and if they start to punish this bot lane, they could really take over this game.
And the one thing I want to highlight from the previous game was that Akers' TP play was much better than Kerberos's. Now that kind of feeds into the storyline that Kerberos is just a split pusher. He just wants to stay in his island and you know, push the lane down. He's not interested in your team fight. If you lose it, that's your fault. And so for Akers now on the Ornn with the Forge of the God of the Forge, you know, you just got so much utility.
God of the Forge, Forge of the Gods.
Forge of the Gods.
Call of the Forge God.
Ornn Horn. You know, it's just that thing that flies that way and then comes back at you and you go, ouch.
I was thinking, because what Akers can do is he can TP in, pop his ult, and then just recall and go deal with Kerberos. You can have to just like fire your ult and then be like, right, laters. You guys are on your own.
You can hop out. I did my bit.
Yeah, contributed.
Yeah, I mean, Phelan definitely going to be looking for the team fight. That's essentially what they want. That's all they're all about, is the team fight.
It's the same thing as last game, and we actually talked about it in the post-game there, that Ornn would have been a much better early pick because it allows for that. Sejuani, I would think, is similar in that regard. And is a little less, you know, I'm going to jump in and put myself in a bad spot. They can both do it from much longer range. So from that, they're not forced to hard commit, and once they have to hard commit, it was very easy for them to stop, for Wind and Rain to stall and let Kerberos split.
I mean, the utility that comes out from the Ornn ultimate as well, you know, that slow before the knockup just allows for Proper Panda to get the positioning in, Vigo to get the positioning in. This is such a classic, like, combination of ultimates, you know, especially the Braum Ornn. But the thing that Phelan really need to do is just not fall into the bait. Wind and Rain quite clearly showed that they were very capable of falling back and then re-engaging but not committing to the team fight if necessary, really just playing a game of let Kerberos do his thing. And so for Phelan, it has to be more snappy, it has to be more instantaneous, or else they're just going to have the exact same game they just played.
I think the crucial thing as well is that you're not completely reliant on your top laner for engage. Sejuani can start an engage off, and then the Ornn can TP when he feels it's necessary. Same thing with the Braum, as he can follow up on the Sejuani. A good portion of the team fight can go before you even need your Ornn to come in, and I think that's the important thing. And you're against, it's a Zyra, it's a Kai'Sa, it's an Orianna. They don't have the Zillion ult to keep them alive, and I feel like if you connect with one of them, they will die. I mean, the Orianna's going to have cleanse, but it's nothing like the Lysandra last game, who just stalled for ages.
Well, we want to hear from you guys. Make sure you head on over to Twitter at LVPUK, hashtag Forge of Champions 1. If you want to be an upcoming Twitter analyst, we want to hear your thoughts, exactly what's going down. For Phelan, this is it. If they win this, then they get that second chance of going through to the semis of this first scoring tournament. If it's not, then they go out 8th place or 5th to 8th. It's very respectable for an open qualifier team. It's possibly even more, than they were expecting to do. But of course, you want to go further.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give them credit in the sense that this is one of 2 open teams that have made it to the round of 8. So there are very few coming this far.
Yep.
So even if they do go out, it's been quite a good showing, but let's have an even better showing and see if they can get going.
Absolutely. Ox, we're going to be leaving you in just a bit to go back to your cage.
Again?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you come back next series if you're lucky.
Wow, if I'm lucky.
If you're lucky,
well,
if you're a good boy.
Well, I'll leave you guys to cast, and then I'll just go sit in the corner.
I'll let you say one more point if you want.
One more point.
One more point.
I don't like you.
Oh.
That
was
very mean to me.
A very pointed point.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's sad.
Maybe a bit brutal. Okay, I don't.
Yeah.
I like you a bit.
Maybe I'll buy you an ice cream.
Oh yeah, I
this.
appreciate that. Yeah, there's a nice little mall. We can go catch some food after. You good for that? Yeah. What are you doing after this?
I'll probably just chill.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
We're out here in
I'm
Barcelona.
up for ice cream as well, by the way. Don't just talk around
Yeah.
me.
So if anyone from Phelan or Wind and Rain's watching, can you finish quickly? We have a date after this, so yeah. Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's nice. I like it.
I mean, that's kind of saying that you want Phelan to lose this.
I mean, you're putting words in my mouth now.
That's what you said.
I think he said he wanted ice cream.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna drop the point there
You're
before he accidentally
extrapolating.
says something a little mean again.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'll be nicer, I promise. I'll let you cast with me next. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
please.
We'll put Celtic Tiger in the game.
It's fine.
Yeah. All right.
I'm
Well,
a good dog.
one more point. Phelan, what do you think they need to focus on specifically if they're going to actually find the team fight they need against?
I think it comes down to proper plan there, and it comes down to him finding the engages and not thinking like we need our own here to find engage. And I mean, there's so many targets you can pick now. Before it's like if you engage on the Zillion, he's not that high value apart from his ult. The Lucian's mobile, and then the Lissandra just, I mean, it took, like every time they engaged in Lissandra, it took like 10 years to get through all of the invulnerabilities. So I think you have to use your targets, you have better tools for it, just make the team fights happen.
I mean, that's the one thing is that the Orianna can't escape quite like a Lissandra can. She doesn't have as much utility, but there is the potential you could consider from Wind and Rain to actually just go, we're going to counter this team fight. We've got the Shockwave, we land it quite well, then the Jax can jump in, he can counter-strike you, Camille can lock down Akka's, or sorry, it would be Aether, and really make sure that he doesn't escape on this Lucian. And so the one thing that Phelan didn't quite have to worry about previously was the counter attack that would potentially come out of Wind and Rain instantaneously. Now that's something that Wind and Rain have at their disposal.
Yeah, I think that's true. If you botch the engage slightly, you're looking at an Orianna Shockwave, a Zyra A-Wheel. There's a lot of potential to punish.
Well, it's time to jump into the second game. Thank you very much, Ox. Enjoy your stay. I'll get you a biscuit and throw it over. For now, it is going to be Phelan versus Wind and Rain as we jump back on to the Rift here. Celtic Tiger is just that last chance for Phelan.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about how they've drafted right for this. It's all about can they make it work, and especially I'll be looking back towards this top lane. Kerberos got a lot of free time to start roaming mid, and Nolte was able to find that first trade. See if they can make it a little bit easier for themselves in the early game.
Yeah, and right now for Wind and Rain, they're pushing quite heavily down. It's kind of the same story that what happened here. That essentially Wind and Rain were able to kind of control the early game as much as possible, whilst Nolte was able to kind of just scale. Proper Panda went in and invaded, but it wasn't really Proper Panda pulling the shots.
Yeah, and I think, they tried to engage onto Crossman, but Lissandra, hard target to get down, even pre-6 apparently, because she managed to survive just about long enough. And from there, I think, you saw them start to pull ahead. Started slow, but quickly picked up when Kerberos managed to fix himself an inhib.
Yeah, no, and that's the really important thing is if Kerberos is left unchecked, then he is just going to do the split push thing as always. A bit more of a fun matchup you could consider for Akka's on this Ornn. Going to have a little bit more power to kind of push back against this Camille, but it's still one that you think that Kerberos is going to be fairly comfortable in.
Yeah, and it's still got very light nerfs in 8.13, so, or not quite as strong as it was with Illusion Braum.
That's an ignite as well. They want this. The heal may not be enough as the tick goes away. First blood goes over to Phelan, but it isn't a counter attack. It's still going. Fax jumps in. It's Vigo versus Fax. It's a Clown Fiesta all across the map, but this time it's Phelan striking first.
How did they get that kill in the bot lane? It was looking so clean for Lucian Braum,
It's
and now
not
it's
over.
going!
Prop Panda is here and he wants Fax and he wants him now. Aether with a teleport trying to get the kill. Can he get
Give
the
it to him.
attack?
No!
Oh, no! Proper Panda will take that one away. 2-2 and a lot of excitement.
He actually got the Q there at the end. If he just left it that little bit longer, but no. Secures the kill.
That's fine.
They pick up the what they wanted. And, okay, they got first blood. I think that's something we can note. It's been super hectic. But in the end of the day, Phelan did get first blood. Onto Braum, unfortunately. So, not really their ideal. And as a result, Kai'Sa actually gets the better back.
Yeah, no, Kai'Sa does get the better back. That's the really important thing, is that she gets to come back, pickaxe in inventory, Phelan only with that longsword. Looks like we're going for
Fight
more.
again.
It's going to be Proper Panda coming in for another gank. Akazuni going to be in trouble as the flash comes through from Proper Panda, but they don't have the range.
Oh my god!
Fax has turned it around. It's all gone wrong for Phelan. Proper Panda going to be seeing the grey screen.
Are you kidding me
It's
right
not
now?
over.
Vigo
it's
as
going
well,
in.
no!
Oh no,
Oh.
no, it's not what you want. That pickaxe just doing so much damage.
You know what? They were at least more active in the early game, I'll give them that. That was not what anyone looking for Phelan to win here was hoping for, though. War just given the free kill there, realistically. Way too far forward from Proper Panda. Used the W early, so by the time he flashed, he didn't have that available. Poor use of abilities in conjunction with each other. Gets himself picked off.
This is a kind of sad start from Phelan, pulling the shots definitely in the jungle. Proper Panda trying to have far more of an impact, and of course he can do that on Sejuani, but missing up the play like that. Wind and Rain, 1,000 gold in the lead.
Yeah, and on top of that, you've given Jax time to free farm. You've given Kai'Sa the same. This has just put the game in probably the worst spot you could figure, because you wanted Lucian Braum to be, okay, we managed to finally get our Lucian. Let's win the early game and let's use that to snowball ourselves back into a solid mental state to retake this series. And unfortunately, they just didn't get that. So let's look at this play again. See, Braum, he used the W early and then decides to commit to the flash. Just needed to use one, then the other, or just not flash there in the first place. And ends up getting picked off for his over-aggression at that point.
Yeah, and Vigo just not quite able to get far enough back. Fax just knowing the range of his champion. Easy peasy, able to push up there, lands the skill shot, and that was it, really, for Wind and Rain. Already 3 kills in the bot lane for Fax.
It's the classic odd one method, you know? You don't need to outplay the enemy. You just need to wait for the enemy to outplay themselves.
Wise words. Wise words. And
wise words from an experienced man in the regard.
A good-looking one as well. Let's see.
Oh!
Hey, man.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
You're complimenting people. I'm just not used to it. Sorry.
Phelan on the back foot, but it's not over. I mean, look at this. We got a potential counter gank. Is what Nolty was sealing here. Frostman pushed quite far up, but we can see it. Sejuani's back at base, trying to desperately get back into this this matchup.
I mean, you can return to the bot lane. I know while it may have completely shaken your mental state, it's still a great gank. If you manage to queue things up properly this time, they're still absolutely open to being picked off. Their summoners have yet to come back up. Take your red buff now and try use that there. Instead, it looks like they're going to use the Lucian Braum to push up and take their back.
I mean, that's the key thing, like you mentioned. It wasn't a macro decision that was the mistake. It was just a slight micro outplay, or misplay, I should say, coming out of Proper Panda. And so it doesn't make the macro decision any worse at this stage. And that's the important thing to note. Proper Panda going to secure this red buff. He has kept up in experience, though, with Nolty, despite the early ganks, which is really important, considering that Jax is kind of just wanting to hard farm and get that level 6 sooner.
Yeah, you can definitely see the pressure, though, the Crossman's putting down. Proper Panda actually just has to walk into the mid lane, knowing that the kill isn't available, to make sure that wave can be secured, make sure the Cassiopeia can get back, and start scaling up into the monster she really wants to be, and I'm not sure she'll get the time for it.
And because of this, Proper Panda's left his topside jungle completely exposed. It is going to be Kerberos and Nolty moving in onto the jungle, and maybe just moving onto Proper Panda. There's the shockwave to lock him up, and he is just dead to all rights as Nolty will take that one away. The roaming gang squad that is Kerberos joining in, and first brick once more going to be in this mid lane, taking down this mid lane turret.
Yeah, this is looking oddly familiar now, and that's got to worry you as Wind and Rain. Or as Phelan even, you do not want to see a repeat of Game 1. And it looks like, for the start at the very least, it is Wind and Rain very clearly in the lead. Already almost 3k in the lead, closer to 2k in fairness, but still quite a hefty lead for 8 minutes in.
Could have been more if they managed to actually secure that mid lane turret. It was just going to be sitting there pretty low, not going to be too much of an issue for now. Wind and Rain potentially setting something up. Here comes the Ornn looking for a kill, but it doesn't hit anyone. Salty Jarden trying to get onto Akasune. Can't quite find the damage. Aka's not making the best out of that ultimate.
Yeah, and that's the TP forced, and what you've done in response is give away this top tower. I think Sejuani is potentially diveable here if she decides to stay. She realizes that, and Propaganda just forced to watch his tower go down.
There's going to be the teleport potentially coming out of Salty Jarden. Propaganda is there as well. This mid lane is so low, and Aka's potentially not got the wave clear really to push an Orianna backwards. Doesn't look like it at all. Crossman going to be able to secure that tower there. Fax not in too much trouble as the root does come through onto Vigo to make sure he can't get too close. 3,500 gold already for Wind and Rain.
Yeah, and that's got to be a massive worry for Phelan. You were looking to have a better showing in game 2, and it's just looked like it snowballed even quicker this time after some unfortunate bot lane plays. If they want to come back, though, they need to slow this down. They need to consistently keep their waves pushed, keep them away from the towers, avoid getting dived as well. As you can see, Wind and Rain not scared to do so.
Yeah, not scared whatsoever. With this dragon being a mountain, a little bit more impactful, you might say, than the ocean. So going to be more pressure being put onto it. Currently, Nolty and Crossman doing that one as the rest will come over. Proper Panda is kind of here, but with this Orianna ball, you can kind of just make sure that he doesn't get too close. Keep the tabs on him. That first Mountain Drake will go over to the side of Wind and Rain.
Yeah, that was going to be a very dangerous steal for Proper Panda. Probably would have given over more than he got, even if he did manage to take that dragon. So simpler to just watch them take it down, clear vision in the meantime, and go back to your job.
Right now, Phelan really just trying to slow things down as much as possible. Proper Panda making his way through the lane, potentially, since Vigo has hit level 6.
Here it
will
is.
have the gank. There it is, going to be coming in. Great stun, but Kerberos wants to come in. They're not going to cancel it. They're going for this. It's a 2v3, but it's one they can win. Aether going to fall. Fax is going to find up the kills, and Nolty jumping in just makes it easy. Wind and Rain able to turn that one completely around.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the TP coming down. You need to get out of that play as soon as possible. They get one kill, but they guarantee another tower going down for Wind and Rain. But look at the replay here. You see Akatsune just immediately gets jumped by Vigo, and it was a good combo. This time, though, we were talking about how Kerberos's TPs had been a little dodgy in the past. Finds himself a really nice one at the center of this fight, and just the sheer damage coming out of both Fax and Kerberos this early on is insane.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Kerberos, really great, impactful play. Something that he didn't really focus on in the previous game was the teleport plays, but showing that he's very willing to make those cross-map plays quite necessary here. Fax still pushing towards this Squinzus early. Isn't going to change the build path, considering, even though it was nerfed.
I mean, your 4-1-1 on Kai'Sa, it wasn't really nerfed anymore. You'll be doing absolutely fine with that. You might see the damage go down slightly in the late game, but you're already seeing how crazy Kai'Sa's damage can be off the bases alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge gold lead already on the side of Wind and Rain. You can see Kerberos has been put on bot lane duty, keeping Aka's locked on up, which will allow for greater control around that Rift Herald. Lanes are swapping and making sure that they are very clear, making sure that no sneaky stuff is happening. Proper Panda's plan is all about this bot lane, but so far it hasn't been as successful as Phelan would want.
That's one way of putting it, for sure. But I would say he really messed up, and from there the game as a whole looks like it might be struggling right now. Phelan are going to play from the back foot entirely until they maybe find one glorious team fight as they did in last game, but even then, you've seen Wind and Rain regain control.
Yeah, absolutely. Wind and Rain completely in the driver's seat, and you can see that Phelan kind of desperately trying to just find something. Look at where the wave is currently up on the tower. Easy freeze coming out of Fax, and now with Crossman leaving the mid lane, maybe they just catch them all out, or maybe Crossman's caught out, depends on how much they can execute. Shockwave locking up Vigo. Here comes the rest of Wind and Rain, and that is going to be Vigo falling down. Fax diving on in. The Brom trying his best, not going to be enough to completely save the life of Aether there. And now we just see that Wind and Rain are going to easily take away this Rift Herald.
And we were talking about, you know, one of the weaknesses of comp where you have so many tanks is that you need your consistent damage alive. And when Kai'Sa's this far ahead, she can just jump into the center of you and tear you apart. Let's have a look here. You see Crossman looks like he might get caught out here. They have no vision of anyone of Propaganda or Vigo. They get the combo. They actually miss everything.
Yep.
The second part of W that slows, the Q from Braum.
Wow.
Everything goes down.
Look
and
how
again,
quick
it's just
that Aether just melted there.
like you have some good macro decisions being made here, but it's the micro execution just completely falling apart. And maybe this is partly due to how poorly the first game went, but it really looks like Phelan are now in much worse form than even in that game 1.
I mean, you just have to look at the gold. It is staggering right now for Wind and Rain as the second tower in the mid lane will fall. It's not long until the attention gets put towards that bot and top side as well. Mind you, Rift Herald was taken and hasn't been used yet. Nolty still has it in inventory, ready to go, depending on where they want to push those side lanes. We've got the Dragon respawning soon. Does look like it will be another mountain, so, you know, not as exciting as maybe an Infernal, but when you consider the fact that these neutral objectives are now going to start to melt, it just allows Wind and Rain to potentially finish earlier.
Yeah, even it helps Kerberos in the split push. He takes those towers slightly quicker. As a whole, this does benefit what Wind and Rain want to do at this time of the game. Maybe the Infernal will be slightly nicer for them in taking those fights, but I think Mountain almost just as good with the pace they're trying to run this game.
Yeah, when you want to split push, it just makes the split push even more scarier. So many wards already placed on the map, and another adventure into the jungle here to take some more up. Proper Panda not going to be able to secure his blue buff here, and oh dear, Aether and Vigo potentially pushed up a little bit too far. Doesn't look like Wind and Rain were quite set up to catch out the bot side of Phelan.
See, they had no vision to know that that collapse would have been a 3v2.
Yep.
If they'd known that Nolte and Fax were on the complete opposite side of the map, they maybe could have gone for it, try to get themselves a pick, but with all the vision denial that War have been doing, Phelan were forced to back out of what could have been an advantageous trade.
Now, with Akers in this bot side, kind of just locked up, Fax pushing up, and the rest of Wind and Rain pushing up, it is going to be a committal to this bot side tower. Potentially just chuck that Rift Herald down and take it out, or maybe you just even hold it for a little bit longer. No need to use it just yet.
Last-ditch effort. You have the Ornals. You're going to need to make it engage soon.
Here it comes. Call of the Forge God flying out, but he gets rooted up and can't knock it back. Huge shockwave, locking up everyone, and it is just annihilation for Phelan as everyone starts to fall. A 1-for-1 trade so far, but the tower is still healthy. I say 1-for-1 trade. No, it's not. Phelan did not. Oh, Vigo went down. Okay,
yeah, he did.
I'm a good play-by-play caster. Trust my instinct. That
Either
tower
way,
is going to fall anyway.
Yeah, Wind and Rain still coming out with the better trade here. They probably wanted more than a 1-for-1 realistically, but given that you've drafted into this team fight comp, still perfectly fine as long as you're taking the objectives.
Yep, and now potentially just rush over towards that Mountain Drake. You can take it down very quickly at this stage. Fax with that Quinzu's Blade, and, you know, building towards even more than Ash's Tooth. Almost complete as well for the AD carry of Wind and Rain. And that Rift Herald still hasn't been used. It is likely to expire soon. Only a quarter of its time left to go. We'll have to see where Nolte does decide to use it, if indeed.
What I'd like to see is if they just throw it bot lane, send Kerberos mid lane, and then commit to the Baron. There's not a huge amount they can do there if you can get all this split focus, but let's have a look at how that team fight went, because it starts off with the massive engage that we were talking about. In comes Ornn ult and Sejuani ult very shortly. There it is. And you see, you know, you have the cleanse thrown back, but this route was so clutch from Akatsune, and it's really nice to see, considering that we were talking about how he wasn't super comfortable on the Zilean, that he's a bit better on this Zyra now. And after that, you know, you could hard commit from Wind and Rain. It goes a little bit back and forth because they have a lot of damage and the tower in with them, but at the same time, not a forced engage from Wind and Rain.
Right, and the main thing to take away from that is, yes, Nolte did fall, but Kerberos was the only one who actually took damage other than the rest of the team. And so, whilst Phelan did kind of hold off with their engage, speaking of which, we're going straight onto the Orianna. Shockwave to potentially keep you alive for longer, but no one is there to help. Kerberos is in the bot side, is split pushing still, so even though you do have that kill, you have to continue to deal with what Wind and Rain are pushing at you.
Yeah, 9k down, and they can still force fights like that because you just have the Sejuani ult or an ult engage whenever you need it. And that was a good pick there from Propaganda, knowing that the cleanse was down.
Yep, that Rift Herald in the top side will be dealt with easily by Phelan. Wasn't quite able to get too much damage onto the tower. I say not too much, it's half its health, but it's still a tower remaining, which is good, kind of denying potential extra gold. The Kerberos is just able to push into the base. Nothing that Akers can do, and he's still trying to do nothing. Kerberos so healthy. Here comes Jaredon to try and help on out. Call of the Forge God coming through the slow. The knock-up, they put him airborne, and they take him on down. They do lose the inhibitor tower, though.
Yeah, and I mean, Wind and Rain, now, yes, that doesn't cost you a huge amount. You're still very much in the lead, but at the same time, you're giving away things you don't need to be giving away right now. And Phelan picking up kills they probably shouldn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, that kill onto Kerberos all comes through the fact that Phelan misrotated and allowed Kerberos to do the one thing he does best, which is split push. But I'm not sure that the shutdown on gold that... Well, you're not even getting shutdown gold. He's only got 1 kill, you know. It's 2 now where it starts to come in. And so for Wind and Rain, yeah, they lose the kill, but what does it matter? They broke down the base and they can continue to push.
Yeah, you can see the bounty gold not really helping them cut down that 10k lead that Wind and Rain have found themselves in. Almost. Maybe 1 bounty. 10k bounty, please.
10k bounties, righto, please. Probably not going to happen.
No, I mean, it's looking a bit rough still for Phelan. They're finding themselves a few more engages. I'm glad to see that they haven't completely given up in this game. They're still looking for what their comp excels at, because while unlikely, it is possible for them to scale up here.
Yeah. Baron is going to be joining us soon on the Rift. 20 seconds left to go when Wind and Rain have relatively good control over the vision. Has been cleared out in that blue side jungle. Really important for Phelan to take back some control in that jungle, which will allow them then to push up potentially towards the Baron pit. But for now, it is just that desperate attempt to potentially catch someone out. Pinging that Zyra, know her exact position. Kerberos on the bot side looking to try and push on down. Teleport isn't ready yet either for Kerberos, but he will be very happy just to go straight for the inhibitor. It's the exact same deja vu play that Wind and Rain did in game 1.
Yeah, but now you see Phelan are willing to play up. They might be able to commit to this Baron, or at least start forcing some vision around it before they have to go deal with Kerberos.
Doesn't look like it. Are falling back here, pinging the routes that they might come, does Wind and Rain, and now they can move in and pretty much just take away all the vision that was established. Kerberos won't be allowed to push down the inhibitor just yet. Seems like Phelan have learned their lesson, but the question is, how quickly can this Jax and Kai'Sa take down a Baron? Can they commit and react quickly enough if Wind and Rain want to pull the trigger?
Yes.
There you go.
Yep.
My job's done.
It's definitely, yeah, I mean, you have Kai'Sa, you have Double Mountain, you will just burn through Baron. And I expect that's exactly what they're looking to do. You have Kerberos going to the inhib now. Now is the point where you're forcing Phelan to make the choice. Do you want to try commit to a fight around the Baron, or do we want to save our inhib? And it looks like Wind and Rain playing it maybe a little safer than necessary, just because they see the Cassiopeia towards the mid lane, who's still in position to commit to both.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And if they do see Salty Jar head down towards the bot lane, maybe they go straight for that Baron. In fact, that's exactly what happens. Akers knocking up, everyone's on the Baron, and Kerberos will fall back, though there are double teleport for the mid and the top. In fact, the marksman, of course, has them as well, but look how quickly that Baron goes. Yep. It is just gone. Good night. See you later. A good little lock-up from Akasuni means that they can't get even close here. Wind and Rain just playing the map like they want to, and Phelan really not getting anything done.
Yeah, now they're just going to go commit to the top side. You leave Camille in the bot side, who has now picked up Baron. Perfect for what you want in the split push. You still have that Double Mountain helping you out, taking those towers. Nice, simple, slow-ish game from Wind and Rain at this point.
Gets worse for Proper Panda as the ultimate does loss, and Vigo. The Bromalt will be flashed away from 2 key team fighting ultimates gone. And here come Wind and Rain to push in your base. This might just be it at this point.
I mean, there's very few ways Phelan can make it back. And now with that Sejuani ult used, they're solely relying on Ornn ult. Actually also down still. They have nothing to engage with. This looks like it'll be the same triple inhib story as before. See what they can do. Yeah,
it's going to be shockwaves flashed away from here. Wind and Rain just showing some force, showing that they are here for real. It is going to be those towers falling, potentially just going to go in, push down that last inhibitor, and then maybe you fall back, maybe you don't. Who knows? Pull of Forge God still not available. We'll have to see if Wind and Rain time that one well enough to know that it is down. So much pressure coming out of Wind and Rain, but it won't be done yet. They are going to go back to base and spend their gold.
The exact same play as before. You've taken the 3 inhibs. You know you're going to have the supers coming in at some point. Might as well back. Make sure you use all the gold you got from taking the towers the whole way in. And of course the Baron there as well. Huge amount of gold to spend. Make sure you win that last fight. That will secure you the game.
Yeah, 15,000, nothing to sniff at. And this game, no towers were taken by Phelan. Really, that attempt at a snowball in the bot lane backfiring, and it's hurt them so hard.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely where the game started to fall away from them. And at that point, it just continued to extremely rapidly. Wind and Rain willing to just hard punish them when they were given such easy openings to start with.
Going to be the push back in. The Baron buff still live, and it will be for a very long time, really. Wind and Rain going back and spending all of that gold that they just accumulated. You have to feel for Phelan. There's not much they can do. Ultimate starting to come up. They will have that Brom ult in a second. We'll have to see if the Glacial Fisher can make a difference in a team fight, as Wind and Rain going to continue to push on into the space. The Nexus turrets are in their vision, of course, with these super minions as well. Here comes the Caller for gold, a double knockout. It is going to be the fight breaking now, but oh dear, Salty Jarden is so low in the back line, and the ultimatum will lock him down. Proper Banda likely to be the next one to fall, as Kerberos keeps himself alive, and Nolty just going to push Phelan out of their base while the rest of the work is done by the team. Nexus will fall, and Wind and Rain take the series 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, convincing from Wind and Rain. They were coming in as the expected winners, securing themselves that spot as the winners. Looking very convincing.
Very, very convincing. Ox, welcome back. Lovely to see you.
Freed once again.
I mean, you were never locked up.
I mean,
A metaphorical
your
lockup.
mind.
Yeah.
don't mess with me, man. Yeah. I mean, props to Wind and Rain. They played a really dominant series and they managed to close it out. But I think Phelan just, there was a certain point, probably when the Kai'Sa got a double kill, where things just didn't seem to click. And but you know, commiserations, they do get some points, they do get some prize money, and then obviously there is the next tournament as well, which hopefully we'll see them back to compete in.
That's the important thing. Vigo can go buy a new keyboard, won't get shocked anymore, maybe even a new mouse.
That's why they lost that gank bot lane. That's why it went wrong, because the mouse shocked him midway through.
Hashtag justice for Vigo. If he doesn't return next week with a brand new keyboard and mouse, then I don't know.
I mean, let's blame that entirely.
That's the only
and ignore all the glaring macro issues.
I mean, well, let's talk about them. Okay, like Wind and Rain, good ideas for early. That's the thing. The movements they were making towards the bot lane, the right ones to be done. It was the small micro issues that they were having issues with. Let's look at the bracket before we do that, see exactly what's going on here. Wind and Rain will progress to the semifinals to be played next week for the broadcast, and it is going to be M&M Gaming versus XL to decide who they will face.
Yeah, and I think, you know, on commiseration to Phelan, as we said, they had some ideas in the early game, didn't quite work out. Wind and Rain punished very effectively. Not sure they're going to be given as easy a series in XL M&M, but hey, we have next series to watch yet.
And the next series will be XL and M&M.
Yes.
Oh, what a coincidence.
Nice stuff. It's like we planned this.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, we had the bracket graphic helping us, in fairness.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Make a bracket graphic, you can follow it all the way through. Ux, Phelan pretty much tried to play the same game.
Yeah, well, I mean, they props them. They had the right idea.
Yeah.
It was like, if they'd hit maybe one of the 3 skill shots they threw in that bot lane engage, maybe things would have gone a bit differently. And then, I mean, I'm going to be honest, it was really hard to win from that point. But they could have brought it back, but then they made plays like making a play bot lane when Kib has TP and your top lane doesn't. It was just like, I think the mental broke down a little bit.
Yeah, and you saw the same thing happen in the top lane when they tried to make the catch. They missed all their skill shots again. It just looked like they were really struggling, especially after that first mess up. It just followed a few more.
So that's a lesson to you. Skill shots matter.
They do. kind of a big part of League of Legends.
Should have picked champions without them. Should have gone like Annie, you know.
They banned Vlad.
Annie, Malzahar. That's how they're supposed to win.
I mean, Udyr.
Yep, true.
Udyr.
Udyr. I like Udyr.
Yeah.
Why am I
Fair
surprised?
All right. Well, I think we're going to throw it to a break before we do get into that second matchup. M&M versus XL is sure to be a fabulous one. Of course, both these Premiership teams have battled so much in the past in the UK. We'll have to see which one will be facing Wind and Rain next week. Let's throw it to the break before we get into that one.